30 days ago, I decided to become a voice actor because I was told that I had a good voice. Thanks, Mom. Since then, I've auditioned, I've practiced every day, landed a couple roles, made a lot of mistakes, and learned 7 lessons that I wish that I knew from day one. When I first started this journey, I honestly thought voice acting was just having a good voice and talking into a microphone. I did YouTube for a little bit on the Audiobooks channel, and that gave me a little bit of skills that I figured would transfer into this, but it turns out it's a lot more than just that. But in the last 30 days, I have learned a ton, not just from studying, but actually doing it. So here are the biggest lessons that I've learned in my first month as a voice actor. Lesson 1. There are way more voice acting niches than I realized. When I started, I basically thought that voice acting meant video games, anime, and like audiobooks. But there's way more than that. There's audiobooks, commercials, e-learning, corporate narration, YouTube narration, indie games, animation, and a lot more smaller niches that I didn't even know existed. Now, obviously we have commercials and everything, but I didn't realize the scope that voice acting actually had and how applicable it could be to just about everything. Right now, though, I've been mostly working on audiobooks, but realizing how many different directions I could take this really has changed my perspective on the industry. Lesson 2. Your mic matters less than you think. One of my biggest worries starting out was gear. Like I said, I did the YouTube channel Narrator for a while, and my mic seemed okay, but with voice acting, it's just your mic. There's no visuals to really carry your performance, at the very least when you're auditioning. I thought my setup had to be really good, not necessarily perfect, but professional. However, when I was looking stuff up, people were saying to not use a USB mic, and I'm currently using a USB mic. That's actually what I'm using for this video right now. They were all saying to use an XLR mic, but I didn't want to spend the money on it when I had the USB. And even with this USB mic, I am still getting hired to do audiobooks. Now, I'm not saying I shouldn't upgrade because I will eventually, but right now, my USB mic is working fine, or at least working well enough in order for me to get hired. Again, I can definitely hear the difference between an XLR mic and my USB mic, but I'm still getting hired. So while gear does matter, it's not what's going to hold most people back. Lesson 3. Your recording space matters more than your mic. This one surprised me even more. I did not see this coming. I used to think that the microphone was the main factor in the audio quality, but the room you're recording in actually plays a much bigger role. If your space is echoey, or the audio bounces off the walls, or it's just inconsistent sound, it'll show up immediately in your recording. And right now, that is actually my biggest challenge. I've learned some little things to help combat it. For instance, I bought this little audio booth thing that seems to be working out really well, especially when I compare that with a comforter thrown over my head. I'll put it like over the box with my mic inside the box and me under the blanket. The blanket does a great job of helping to absorb the sound. The audio booth also has, I just looked at it. The audio booth also has foam panels in it, which also helps absorb the sound. But right now you can hear the difference probably between talking in the room and then me talking inside the comforter. Now, I didn't actually test this before, so I don't know if it actually makes a difference, but I'm assuming it does because it definitely does with my audiobook recording. Ooh, I'm a spooky little ghost comforter. Ah, you better watch out. Lesson 4. You don't have to be perfect before you start auditioning. This might be the biggest lesson I've learned so far. Again, I came from commentating and doing YouTube stuff for gaming. I had no actual voice acting experience in terms of getting my emotions into the scripts or being able to convey in a, it's going to sound weird, but kind of interesting way to keep people engaged, right? When I made the videos, I had audio to go with the visuals in order to make good videos, right? In this case, I had no acting experience whatsoever. And especially knowing how to take acting and just using my voice is a big difference. I think if you're struggling in order to get started, the best way to go at it is just everybody starts somewhere. So you might as well just get started. This is when you're going to learn the most, is as you're beginning, right? This is the worst you could possibly be. It only goes up from here. And from my experience so far, it goes up exponentially. Literally my first day auditioning, my first audition actually, I ended up landing an audiobook for a YouTube video that's going to be coming out soon. So you don't have to be perfect. You just have to get out there and try. I'll put the link to Casting Call Club, which is where I first started. I just wanted to see if it was something I was interested in actually trying. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there that you can apply for. There's paid and non-paid. The first thing I got was non-paid. But I think if you're just interested in kind of giving it a go and seeing if you're interested in trying it, that would be a good place to start because it's totally free. And you can get on some really cool projects with some really cool people that I've met so far over there. If I waited until I felt ready, though, I'd still, a month in, may not have started. Actually, I probably wouldn't have started because right now, what I'm working on is getting more emotional drive into my reads, and I don't feel ready yet. I'm actually doing a 30-day challenge to help partially with that. But again, if I didn't start right away, I wouldn't have gotten the audiobook roles that I've gotten already. And I definitely wouldn't have even started. I wouldn't have even had my first audition yet. So the best advice I could give here is just go for it. You'll only get better from the beginning, but you're not going to get better unless you start. Lesson 5. Audio editing is less scary than it looks. Audio editing can be very intense, and you can go crazy hard with it. Literally, people make careers out of it. But for what I'm doing with the audiobooks, it's not bad at all. ACX, which is the website that links Amazon authors with Amazon narrators, essentially, has specific standards. And from my understanding, they have kind of created the standards of audiobooks. And a lot of people have trouble meeting them, but it's really not that bad. All I've had to do, I use Audacity. I've just had to select the file clip, set the effect to loudness normalize, run that, and then and then effect limiter, run that, and then I'm done. All of the ACX requirements get met. I think people get too stuck in overthinking it or trying to make it absolutely perfect. You get better in time. Repetition is what's going to get you better. Not sitting there at the same thing trying to make it perfect. It's not going to be perfect. You're not there yet. You got to work at it. You got to get the reps in. You'll learn new tricks as you go. I'm not saying just get the basics and then stop there. You got to keep learning. But editing is a little less scary than people lead it on to be. People use it as this big hurdle that you can't get past, but just like everything, you need the reps. Got to get going. Lesson 6. If you do audiobooks, you have to actually enjoy audiobooks. This became very obvious very quickly. And as I say the lesson, it's like, well, duh, obviously. Like if I'm doing video games, it's probably because I enjoy video games, or at least playing characters, right? But audiobooks is a totally different beast. Audiobooks take a lot of time. Recording is just part of it. You have to stay consistent with your voice. If it's not, the whole project's going to sound a little bit off in between chapters. You have to maintain energy. You have to maintain character voices. And sometimes you have to completely redo really long sections because something was happening in the background and you didn't even notice. You're not just reading a book out loud. I personally read a lot of self-help books, and it's been nice to voice the audiobooks because I'm essentially reading them, right? I'm getting all the information as I'm voice acting them. But some of these books are like 5 hours long. So between actually reading the book and getting the final version and then editing it, I'm probably spending, I want to say 15 to 20 hours working on one book. That is a lot of extra time, especially I'm also working a full-time job right now. So between that and my full-time job, it can be very draining. So if you're going to try audiobooks, really make sure you like them. I have enjoyed them so far. From my understanding, it's not one of the higher paying things. You can get up to like, I've seen some people charging like $400 per finished hour, but keep in mind that a per finished hour is for the book. So if the book is 2 hours long, you'll get $800 when you finish the book. But that 2 hours could take you 6 to 8 to actually edit and record and get everything good. So obviously you'll get better as you go. I know one of the content creators I've been watching, she is at about 2 hours editing and everything per one finished hour, which isn't bad, but in comparison to some other jobs, it is a lower rate of what you could make. And that's also on the higher end. Right now, I'm probably charging between 50 to 100, sometimes 2, depending on what the audiobook is and how much work it's going to be. If it's a lot harder to pronounce words, then I'm going to be charging a little bit more than something else. Lesson 7. You need projects that keep voice acting fun. Voice acting can feel very repetitive. You're doing the same thing. You're reading, you're submitting audition, or you're reading lines for a part, you're submitting the parts lines. It's the same thing. There are days where auditions and editing and practice can all kind of just blur together, which is why it's important to mix things up. Like, while I'm primarily doing audiobooks right now, I'm still doing some character voices because it's really fun to get in the minds of different characters and playing those, and especially the different scenes you can get. I'm working on getting more emotion into my scripts, which is going to help just literally with everything. Whatever path I decide to go down, or I'm probably going to be doing multiple paths, it's going to help bring that emotion to all of my reads. And switching up to different types of projects, audiobooks, video games, commercials, literally anything. As long as you have a goal that you're working toward, I think that's, at least for me, a little bit easier to keep going and keep improving. Just keep in mind that voice acting can get repetitive, so it's important to kind of mix up what you're doing and really make sure that you're enjoying it. Because if you're not enjoying it, it's gonna suck, basically. And I got a little bonus lesson for you. Lesson 8. Subscribe so you can keep watching and not make the same mistakes I do. Learn alongside with me. Come along in my journey, see the mistakes I make, see how I fix them eventually, or read the comments and see how people suggested that I fix them, and keep getting better with me every single month. We're in this together, voice actors. Woo! So that's my first 30 days as a voice actor. I definitely did not expect to learn so much within a short amount of time, but it really has been an interesting start. And I'm very curious to see where the next month goes. If you guys are interested in the gear that I'm currently using, both the mic, the audio booth, just everything is going to be down in the description below. Rawr. Oh, I'm going to get you. I don't know why the ghost has a high-pitched voice. I guess just that's what ghosts do. Ooh, I'm going to get you.